you've been feeling the call to write a book, it is no accident. Your book is needed in the world, so let's make it happen. I'm Nicola Humber, and this is the Unbound Writers Club. Hello and welcome to the Unbound Writers Club. Today I am joined by one of our newest authors at the Unbound Press, Carolyn Davis Cid. Carolyn is author of A Mother's Love, which is a novel set in April 2020. I don't know if you remember 2020, maybe you do. A Mother's Love traces the story of New Jersey school teacher Jeanette Remington. When she falls ill, Jeanette finds herself in an isolated hospital ward where she engages in the fight of her life. Meanwhile, her husband and grown children are forced to grapple with her mortality, along with the stifling distances that separate them. In the end, everyone's lives will change and each will recognize the importance of a mother's love. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited for you to read this book, and I'm excited for you to meet Carolyn. When I first connected with her, I was like, oh, this woman, I would love her to be part of the Unbound Press family of authors, and now she is. So in this conversation, we talk about her journey as a writer, what supported her, and yeah, how she feels now that A Mother's Love, her first book, is making its way into the world. So let me introduce you. So Carolyn, welcome to the Unbound Writers Club.
I am so honored and proud to be here today. Thank you, Nicola.
Oh, I'm delighted. I'm delighted for us to have this conversation. I think I don't know if I said this or I thought it when we first connected. I was like, I cannot wait for us to do the podcast conversation about this book. So here we are. Here we are. And I'll start with the question that I always ask at the beginning of these conversations, which is, what makes you an unbound writer? Is there a particular old belief that you've liberated yourself from? What is it that you're doing or have done differently?
I feel like not just me, but probably the majority of your published authors are true writers. We've been writers our entire life. I'm a teacher. I actually was by trade a technical writer for some time. But there's a big difference in writing for a business or writing for a job or writing for like someone else and authoring your own creative spark that just comes from you, because that is so much more personal. And what makes me unbound is that a mother's love is all me. It's totally personal and my own thoughts. Like, I created this, it is a work of fiction, but I created these characters and I created this scenario and I decided where it went. So that's what makes me unbound.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that distinction because, like you say, I'm with you. I've been a writer my whole life, but for a lot of my life, I had to write, for other people, like at work or at school, at university, and this is where we get to really tap into our heart and what wants to come through. And following on from that, Carolyn, when did you first feel the call to write this book in particular, A Mother's Love? Like how did this book show up for you?
This book, the earliest document that I can find for this book was in the summer of 2021. I had one chapter, and I decided at that time, for multiple reasons, to pursue my master's degree in English, not education. I actually looked at many programs and decided to just do the master's that I really wanted to do because I do love reading and writing so much. And in order to go or to be admitted, I had to submit some writing. And A Mother's Love, the first chapter, and almost not exactly, but essentially the same premise, was part of the writing that I submitted. So I had the idea probably back like from COVID. The setting is April 2020. And what I needed for my story to unfold is to have my protagonist alone and isolated. And I thought,
Mm.
that's what happened to all of us during the global shutdown. And I thought, how could she not only feel removed, but be removed so that she could think about the motherhood and the message and the themes that I really wanted to show in my book could come forward, not only from Jeanette Remington, my main character, but from her family as well.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that. I love that. So you didn't necessarily start with COVID and that it was starting from this need to have, like you say, the protagonist, the main character isolated. Oh, I love that. I didn't know that. Amazing.
Yes, I wanted her to reflect and think about because, honestly, that was part of the stage I was at is where I would think about my children when they were little. Now they're grown, they're all, three, they're successful. And, that whole transition time and transition period of there's a lot of letting go. But at the same time, you're all the same people. I couldn't be who I am today without them. And I guess in talking to other women in similar situations as I was, that I found out that they wondered, well, I wonder what they think. Like, I
Mm,
wonder how they feel about their childhoods or how much they go back and think about it. So that's what they did in my book.
amazing. Amazing. Oh, yeah. I'm even more excited about it now. I mean, how did you actually get started though? Like you say, Carolyn, you've always been a writer. It's part of
Mhm.
who you are. But to actually make the decision to write a novel and to follow that impulse and start writing, what was that process like for you?
Again, had it all came together when I applied to Monmouth University here in New Jersey for a master's degree in English. And they said, well, we need writing samples. And so I sent them my personal writing, a few individual chapters of 3 projects. I always have a few projects laying around, but I didn't get past, I didn't get very far with them. And it's only because of life. When I think back on it, there's always something else to do. Again, I work full time, I have a family, there's always something else going on. But when I went back, or when I had to send this first writing in for the application, that was the first time I had ever shared my personal creative fictional writing anywhere with anyone. And I was so nervous about it. And I was like, that's it. You've got to do this because either, you belong in this program or you don't. Like, get going here. And then once I did that, it kind of flowed very naturally from there. Although I intended to be a literature, there are tracks for this master's program here where you could specialize in literature or creative writing or rhetoric. And I expected to choose literature. Who wouldn't want to study Shakespeare?
Hmm.
But they said, well, we're going to admit you in the creative writing track because you've shown us creative writing that we think has promise. But if you really would like to stay in the literature track, we'll have to switch you over later and blah, blah. Well, by the time I took a few classes, I guess I was hooked. So it wasn't the first class, but it was maybe the third or fourth class where I started workshopping chapters of A Mother's Love. And then what I discovered was I had to stop stopping myself with this isn't good enough. No one's going to like it. What makes me think anyone wants to read my story? Because then I just kind of needed to finish something.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a storyline and I wanted to get from here to there.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then I had to change it all because after I kind of had it was something around 100 pages, a basic story. where what I thought where the characters, the mother could reflect on her children and the children could reflect on her mother. Based on all of my workshopping, my classmates came up with, well, what about this? What about that? What's going to happen when this? What's going to happen with that? And I was like, no, I don't know. Like, that's not going to happen. And then I needed to do some more research. And I was very fortunate that my cousin is a nurse, research on what actual COVID symptoms would be. And that changed the entire novel yet again.
Wow, wow. So much courage, Carolyn. Like to go from that place of never having shared any of your writing to actually, sending it off and then, beginning this journey with creative writing, like getting feedback every single step of the way. I mean, that's huge. And actually, it's something I want to reflect back to you because it's something I've seen, and as we've been journeying together and holding space with you at the Unbound Press, and you've been part of the Unbound Writers Collective, like every single step of the way, there's been this willingness to go, okay, like it's the first time I've done this, but I'm doing it. And I love that about you.
I think it's because I really want it. I
Yeah.
really want it. I feel the call to write. I've always, since, everyone that we seem to talk to has a book in their head since they're 5 or 6 or whatever. So
Mm,
it is, and I recognize that I do need to work at it. It's work. It's
mm,
some of it comes naturally and flows when you get into the flow, but there's an effort and there's work that needs to be put in. It needs to be consistent,
mhm.
and you do need to be open.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, how did you actually find the time? Because I know you've got a lot going on in your life. And this is a question that always comes up. It's like, but how do I find the time to write? So, how did you navigate that personally?
When I think back, it's amazing to think that I had my full-time job, plus I finished all of the curriculum for the
Hmm.
master's degree. So that's papers and, on other material. Plus I finished writing A Mother's Love for my thesis. That's not a requirement. A requirement is to write a chunk. But during the summers in between, I guess I had 2 summers in between because I took 4 classes a year, and I did not take summer classes during the master's, and it took me like, it took me maybe 2.5 actual years. I wrote during the summer because, of course, as a teacher, I have the summer off.
Mm,
I wrote on weekends. I didn't have a set schedule, but I kept close track of how many words, which we do in our sprees. I kept a chart of how far I went. I kept lots of notes and I always kept it open. And I think I just had a flow where I could pop in and write a page or two. And the
mm,
times that I couldn't write, I would edit, or I did things like reviewed all of the chapters. How many pages was each chapter? What character did each chapter start and end with? So that it wasn't always the same or repetitive. So I kept, I want to say, pecking at it,
mm. Yeah, yeah,
some part at a time. I think that if I hadn't gone to Monmouth and had the support, the mentoring, because being able to ask the questions and see other writers made me feel like a writer and feel like I could do it.
totally. Yeah, that support is so, so important. I mean, you talked a little bit earlier about some of the fears and doubts that came up for you, Carolyn, during the process. And obviously, like having that support in place helped you to move through them because you kind of had to. It's like, well, I just have to get on with it. But is
Yeah.
there, was there anything in particular that came up, maybe even during the publishing process, actually? Is there anything else that's come up and how have you moved beyond that?
I want more for this book.
Hmm.
And that is what has pushed me through the online presence. That has been my big struggle. Since joining the Unbound Press and the community, I had zero online presence. And
Hmm.
now I have a website, which I love, which a little shout out, my daughter helped me create.
Hmm.
I have a Facebook page. I'm not great at it. I'm not on it all the time, but I do get excellent feedback. And again, it's a way to be in a community. None of this can happen in isolation.
Yeah.
Like in these books or these movies, they like the author locks himself in a cabin and writes a book. I don't know how that's possible. I really don't. Because every single person that's been in my along with me on my journey has added something, and it's confidence. It's the confidence that they've given me along the way with, yes, just like what you said, yes, this is the way I felt, yes, this is what happens to me, and it's enabled me to just say, okay, that's what it takes, next step.
Amazing. Amazing. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like having people around you, at different stages, and people at different stages of their process to like witness you and share what's coming up for them and celebrate with you and also go, oh, yeah, I've had that challenge as well. Like it's everything, isn't it? It's so, so important.
My family has been fantastic.
Oh, I bet they're so excited, Carolyn. Amazing. How do you feel now? Like as we're recording this, like your book, A Mother's Love, is going to be released in a couple of days' time. Like, how are you feeling right now?
I feel like an author,
Mm, yeah.
and I did not feel like that 6 months ago.
Hmm.
I feel like an abundant author.
Yeah.
That this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
This is just, and everything I think I understand now, it's all learning. You're just learning it. You're learning something new. And one of the things, that one of my professors told me was every single book is going to be different, feel different. Well, you can attest to that more than
Definitely.
I.
Yeah.
And so it's all, you're learning all the way through. Again, I guess I thought, oh, authors write it, it's good, they know it's good, they're confident. Or maybe I think, I don't know what I thought, but now I see it as here she is, a mother's love. And now that she's here, I need to do for her. She's another one of my children.
Yeah.
And so if there's something that I'm slightly uncomfortable doing, it's going to be okay. I'm going
Yeah.
to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you would show up for your children. Like we should
Yes.
show up for our books in that way.
Yes. Yeah, and I would not have understood that. I just knew I couldn't leave it where it was. I just knew it needed more. And I had to keep pushing. Like, what more can I do?
Yeah, yeah. It's just so beautiful. I mean, I know people are listening to this, so they can't see us, but like seeing you with your copy of A Mother's Love in your hands, Carolyn. I mean, like she's just radiating out, can I just say? It's beautiful. If you had to give one piece of advice to somebody who's listening to this and either thinking about writing a book or in the very early stages, what would you say?
Do it. Just
Mm,
do it. And don't worry about the parts, how it's going to come together, where it will end up. Just do the thing that's in front of you right now. This piece, this part, whatever you're called to write, to express. And the other thing is, I never deleted stuff like
mhm.
words. It took my energy to get that word or that paragraph on that, in that document or on that page. And I just kept pushing it down. And then sometimes I'd pop it back up. Sometimes I didn't use it. Then I move it over to its own document of like outtakes, but no deletions, no retractions, lots of edits,
Yeah.
but just go.
I love that
And
idea of having outtakes for your book. That's genius. I love it.
and people want it. people need to hear your story and people want to hear your story. I think that's the biggest surprise to me. How many people are interested?
Yeah, they are, people are fascinated. They absolutely do, which is, what a gorgeous thing. What a gorgeous thing. I mean, I am so excited, Carolyn. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for us at the Unbound Press that we get to birth your brilliant book into the world and see what's next. For those who are listening, who would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that? I guess via your website and Facebook, you said, didn't you?
Yes, definitely. But the website has all the other links on it. So it's actually my full name, carolyndaviscid.com.
Perfect. We'll make sure that's in the show notes. Thank you so much for being in the Unbound Writers Club today, Carolyn. And like I said, I am so excited for A Mother's Love to make her way into the world. And I am just so delighted that you're part of the Unbound Press family.
I am truly honored to be among these women and you. Thank you so much, Nicola.
Thank you, Carolyn.